Technical Teaching Secret Society presents Solitude and Collaboration, the Artist's Dichotomy. The creative arts enrich our society and well-being, provoking thought and ultimately bringing people together. Great art inspires. It rewards an inquisitive nature and poses questions of its own. Creativity takes many forms. Artists are natural agents of change, drawn through curiosity to experiment, learning traditional methods of making so that they can break the rules and create solutions that the world has never imagined before. Exceptional creativity can happen in solitude, focused solely on solving the problem in front of you. But sometimes we make the greatest progress when we're together. From the interior designer whose home would be empty without the help of the textile artist, to the screenwriter whose stories could never be filmed until they learn to see through the eyes of a director. Making great art becomes achievable when we work together.
Cut!
I mean, I was pretty excited at the beginning when you just kind of sent the stuff out and said, like, you know, a kind of Wes Anderson vibe project that everybody was going to get to work on together. So I was kind of, pretty excited right from the beginning.
So when we first got together and decided it was going to be a 70s caravan, we started looking at images, making mood boards.
So I thought it was really cool that we were going to do a 70s caravan because there's lots of fun colour to play with.
My usual starting point is kind of piecing together colour. So, looking at kind of artists that might feed into that kind of 70s vibe, but without it being too kind of obviously a rip-off of the 70s.
The walls and the flooring, decided to print them onto a sticky back vinyl so we could stick them straight up onto the walls so they could be directly applied. And something that really stood out for me was the old shabby looking garish veneers, and we knew that we would be able to print that on a adhesive vinyl.
First thing I thought of was how we're going to get light into the caravan and how we're going to get it in convincingly. So luckily they all have giant kind of picture windows, and we need a big light coming in from one side as a direct sunlight, and then I worked with Pip on the direction of the sunlight from his background so they could match. So the large format photographs, so the scenery outside the window, we had to make sure that the light was in the same direction as the light coming in from the studio lights.
I wanted a scene of Plymouth, so I did my research, found a few spots to go to, and went there and took a few shots on the day of overlooking the whole of Plymouth. Yeah, when the background images were shot and lit properly, it looked real realistic and it looked as if you were there, which is what we tried to achieve.
Started looking at how the Digital Print Bureau could be involved in those kind of different processes. So things like the background. I've worked with Rusty before in film where we've created backdrops before. We decided in this instance to print them onto fabric. which allows us to then reuse them. They can be used as a resource in the ERC afterwards.
We used panoramic and stitched all the images together to make one big picture rather than just a small individual picture. So it was combined of 6 to 7 images all put together just to make the big landscape.
So there was a bit of a timeline of things. So certain things had to be done first. So obviously Harrison had to build the shell of the caravan before we could start applying the vinyls and getting all the other bits and pieces into the set.
We were quite keen to show a variety of different processes. So we've got some quite traditional, screen printing and, fabric dyeing, shibori technique on the, used on the kaftan. That kind of thing, and using the dyes that we had available in the dye lab. And then some of it's kind of more digitally focused. So the shirt, for example, is a digital print printed onto a good old 70s fabric, and the same with the cushions. We used a kind of digital process and sublimation.
I wanted to keep with the time frame of the TV shows that were out there for children. I was thinking, well, stop motion,
So we decided to try and put together our own TV because we couldn't source a TV which looked like it was from the right time period. So I looked into older style logos, but then settled on something that kind of looks a bit like the BBC logo, which did change several times over the years. It was very nostalgic seeing those logos, so I decided really to go with something that looked like the BBC logo, but said AUP.
It's all about having kind of, conversations between everybody that was going to be participating in that. The sew lab, really importantly, certainly from a costume perspective and, really talking over, and as I said, we wanted it to be 70s, but a 70s vibe without it just being a kind of complete copy. But the guys in costume have got so much knowledge about exactly what came in and in what part of the 70s. And there was a lot of discussion around the kind of overall look that we were going for. And then obviously, the types of fabrics that we were using and therefore what process was the most fitting for each of the items that we made.
Some of us techs have done projects together before, but we've never done anything like this, where it's a specific time period and trying to make it look authentic. And that was the exciting part of this challenge, was to really go back and look at how everything was in the 70s and try and replicate it.
It wasn't actually until later on I thought, hang on, the Hoe, Smeaton's Tower, that could be the sole kind of staple for Plymouth, and then have characters and add in a storyline between that. And then it actually became 3 small comedy kind of sketches.
Thoroughly enjoyed the experience. It was absolutely amazing to be working together with everybody. A lot of people that you didn't work with before came together, got insight on how they work.
Because it was a whole set. So there was, stuff coming together that wasn't just fabrics for a particular outfit. It had a wider grouping, I suppose. It was about looking at the bigger picture rather than just, an individual outfit or collection of prints, for example. It kind of had more depth to what it was going to be for, which generally kind of, when we're just working and teaching, that's not something we would do so much of. So, it was really nice to work together.
It was looking amazing, the job that everyone had done on the set anyway. But as soon as we put the lights on and sat people in it, it was like, wow, we've definitely got this.
Yeah, it was awesome. When we started building the set and putting all the parts into the caravan and started doing test shoots and test photographs, it was exactly how I envisioned it. It really felt like everyone had the same vision, and it just flowed together. Everyone worked really well together.
Yeah, working with everyone else was amazing. It was so much easier when you've got people that are kind of experts in the field kind of thing. So like if you're having made films in the past, I'd get people to just help out and be like, okay, I need some, if I had said I need some cushions made, I'd just ask members of the family and stuff, and it would take a while and they might not get what's going on. But with using people that are actually like do that as their profession, then it was just so much easier and quicker. 100% would do it again. And I think we're all excited enough that we're kind of talking about that anyway.